A warm welcome to a new episode of Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. I'm Ritwika Gupta. On the show today, I'll be in conversation with Darpan Sanghvi, co-founder and CEO of the Good Glamm Group. Now, the Good Glamm Group became India's first D2C beauty unicorn in 2021. It houses a large portfolio of digital content companies and beauty and personal care brands. Today, I'm going to be chatting with Darpan about the beauty business and the vision he has from content to commerce. Listen in. Content, commerce, creator and community. The Good Glamm Group is India's first beauty brand unicorn aimed at transforming the beauty journey of millions of women through great content and innovative products. The group has been divided into three core segments: the Good Brands Co., the Good Media Co., and the Good Creator Co. Each of these verticals have different objectives but are interconnected in their way of functioning. To understand the brand's journey and growth story, we'll be in conversation today with Darpan Sanghvi, Group Founder and CEO of the Good Glamm Group. Thank you, Darpan, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get to the Good Glamm Group, I actually first want to understand how did you get interested in the beauty business and what was your initial motivation to start MyGlam?
It's so funny because people look at me and they say, how are you in beauty? Right? Now, MyGlam first started as an on-demand, at-home beauty services provider, meaning use an app to see if there's a stylist around you and call that stylist home for a service. I couldn't make that business successful. I miserably failed doing that. We did that for about 2 years. And we couldn't solve the challenge of a stylist going to a customer's home, the customer and the stylist exchanging phone numbers and never using the platform again, right? But one of my early investors was L'Occitane, is still L'Occitane, one of my largest shareholders, the French beauty brand. Yeah. And I went to the CEO of L'Occitane and I said, look, I took your money, but this business of on-demand services is not working. I have an idea. I think there is a need for creating brands made specifically for the needs of this Indian woman at a price point that is right for her and reaching her digitally. And he liked my idea and he backed a pivot. And we pivoted in October 2017. The MyGlam that you see today was born. That's how we got to, the MyGlam of today.
Right, and now talking about the Good Glamm Group. So your co-founders, Priyanka, her starting point was different. Naya's starting point was different. When you had this vision, taking like based on the three C's, content, commerce, and creators, how were you convinced that this structure would actually work, and not just work, but each of these divisions, they will actually be profitable?
As an entrepreneur, you're always convinced that all your ideas are going to be amazing. Okay, so there is no shortage of conviction for an entrepreneur, right? See, what was unique about MyGlam when we started in October 2017 was that we always wanted the customer to transact on our own website and our own app. Be truly direct to consumer. Most of the other new age brands that were coming up in that period of time were getting built primarily on third-party marketplaces, on an Amazon or an Nykaa, right? And we always believe that we should own the customer. If you own the customer, you'll understand her better than anyone else. If you understand her better than anyone else, you'll make products that are more relevant for her, and she'll be more loyal to you, and you'll be able to build a better brand. So the challenge of that strategy is getting traffic to your website and your app to transact. How does a customer discover the MyGlam app from a sea of apps that's out there, right? And it was towards that end on how do I solve this challenge of cost effectively getting consumers to discover and learn about my brand and our products so that we can be profitable. And it was with that thesis where we had this idea thinking, hey, can we do content to commerce? What does content to commerce mean? Content platforms put out large amounts of interesting content that users like to engage with organically, and you don't spend money to get users to read that content, right? Within that content, you are able to then insert brands and products that you have which might be interesting for that user, and then the user can come to your website to transact. That is what content to commerce is. Creators are the medium through which content is created, and users today take validation from, right? And that's how content creator commerce fit. Now, Priyanka had built the largest content platform for women in India, PopExo, right? Naya was doing that in parenting with Baby Chakra. Both of them also had the idea of going content to commerce. I started with commerce and realized it's costing me too much money to get customers to my website. Can I try content to commerce? And I think when we came together, what was very unique was they were already at scale content providers, right? Priyanka had over 1 billion organic monthly impressions. I was already at scale doing commerce on DTC. We were already at 100 crore rupee revenue run rate for MyGlam. And so when we put the two together, I think the results were quite extraordinary for the same. And that's what laid the seeds for the Good Glamm Group. So we went from MyGlam, a DTC brand, to the Good Glamm Group, a content to commerce powered FMCG conglomerate. Right. And that's sort of been our interesting journey.
So did they need a lot of convincing, or was it a very smooth process, to get both of them on board?
I think it was a combination of things. First, they were sold on content to commerce, right? They had tried it on their own as well, right? The way I tried content and failed, they had tried commerce and failed, right? So I think they believed in that overarching vision. I think COVID helped. All of this happened right in that first wave of COVID, when capital was not available in the first phase of COVID. And so everybody was looking for unique ways to disrupt. And so I think that helped accelerate the decision-making process. But because I think there was a meeting of minds and meeting of vision right from the start, that was 80% of the job done. So I'd say it was fairly smooth, convincing them to come join me as a co-founder.
Darpan, I want to talk about your brand partners right now. How do you select your brand partners? What's the process like? And not just in the beauty and personal care space, but also in the digital content space.
So if you see our journey, October 2017, MyGlam, the DTC brand, right? Come COVID, March 20, and we said, let's take a bet and do content to commerce. And it became PopExo and MyGlam in September 2020. That's when the content to commerce journey started. The results were pretty spectacular. And by March 21, we said, we've cracked something here. Now that we've cracked this, let's go out there and fulfill our vision to be a digital FMCG conglomerate. What does that mean? If you look at your traditional FMCG conglomerates that are out there today in India, their strength is their offline distribution, right? Where they have millions of point of sales across the country, deep distribution, through which they've built some great brands, right? A digital FMCG conglomerate, my moat and differentiation is my digital reach being higher than everybody else's. How is my digital reach being higher than anyone else's? It's through our content platforms and our creator platforms. So we said, okay, we need to ensure that our digital reach is bigger than anybody else's. So that's how we picked our digital partners. The brand partners that you talked about, the way we picked our digital partners was, we said PopExo was targeting the 20 to 30-year-old woman. Let's get Scoop Whoop. It's got 45% of the men on Facebook and Instagram are on Scoop Whoop, right? So let's go and get them. Baby Chakra, parenting. Miss Malini, Bollywood entertainment. So non-overlapping, non-competing content platforms, when we put them together, today, the Good Glamm Group reaches organically half the women on Facebook and Instagram every month through our content assets. We reach 45% of the men organically every month through our content assets, right? So that's how we picked our content partners. Creator, we clearly saw that the future lies with creators and influencers. Consumers are discovering trends, ingredients, brands, products, all through what creators are putting out there. And we saw the creator market was highly fragmented. Everybody was solving a different piece of the creator puzzle, if I may say so. So we went and put together Winkle, Viduli, Bulbul, Plixo, Miss Malini's creator arm as well, and Good Creator Co, India's largest creator platform with access to over 1 million influencers and creators, right? And that's the bridge between our good brands and good media. Now coming to good brands. The way we thought about it was, again, we did not take any brand that competes with each other, that overlaps with another. If you look at the beauty personal care category in India, it's about a $20 billion market.
Right.
We segregated that in makeup, skincare, hair care, intimate hygiene, organic products, men's grooming, and we went and picked brands in each of these segments in here. Segments that don't overlap, so that each brand can become a market leader in their segment. My Glam this year is becoming hopefully the #3 makeup brand in India. And the goal is Momsco, Saint Botanica, Organic Harvest, Sirona, all of them becoming top 3 in their categories in the next 2 to 3 years. That's how we put the portfolio together, having enough depth in each of the categories of beauty personal care and having the highest reach in the digital medium, put together digital FMCG conglomerate.
Right. Darpan, you founded the Good Glamm Group in September 2021.
Along with Priyanka and Naya.
Along with Priyanka and Naya. It's been a year. When you look back, your vision, content to commerce, has that met your expectations then?
You know, it's so funny, as an entrepreneur, what I realize is that your goalposts just keep changing and your expectations keep changing. It's not the same what it was a year ago. I started content to commerce in September 20, so 2 years ago. Good Glamm Group, September 21, right, as you said.
Yeah.
In September 20, before we started content to commerce, My Glam was acquiring 30,000 new customers a month on its own website and app, right? Today, the Good Glamm Group acquires over 700,000 new customers a month on its own website and app. So if you'd asked me in September 20, hey, will you take the number 700,000 new customers a month in 2 years? I would have said, hell yeah. Today, if you ask me, I'm like, when are we going to hit 1 million new customers a month, right? So I think as an entrepreneur, your expectations keep evolving. I think what I have to be grateful and thankful for is that content to commerce, I think, has really worked for us. And we're continuing to scale our ambition. And I hope we keep meeting that scaled up ambition that we have.
It's time now for a quick break. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10, and I'm in conversation with Darpan Sanghvi, co-founder and CEO of the Good Glamm Group. Listen in. Tell me, what are the challenges do you think are for businesses in this industry, especially for smaller brands?
Quite a few, right? So to start with, always remember you're building a brand, right? That's an emotion. So be clear on what your brand point of view is. I've seen that in my journey as well. It takes time to realize that exactly this is what my brand stands for.
Right.
Once you figure that out, figure out the consumer persona you're most appealing to. Figure out the consumer need you are truly fulfilling. And then stay true to that point of view all throughout the journey of the life of the brand. And what I mean by that is you'll be faced with so many decisions which might show short-term benefits. Ooh, a sales hike here. Oh, that's a channel that can get me some more customers, but it's not right for my brand. What do I do, right? Remember, we're building a brand, so make decisions. Whenever you're making a decision, say, is that right for my brand? Will it build a brand in the long run? Because what will create value and get you a valuation is how strong your brand is. Then as you go about execution and operations, make sure your products are always ahead of the market. You can build great brands with innovation in product and disruptive marketing. You need your innovation in product. So make sure you're close to your customer, know what he or she wants, and building products that truly serve her need and are differentiated from what else is out there. I think cost of customer acquisition marketing is the single biggest financial challenge anybody has in the beauty brand business. The beauty brand business is gross margins are fantastic, right? So your gross margin stack is not something you have to worry about. The place where you get stuck on is your marketing spend. The day you're able to find the hack to crack your marketing spend, you're profitable as a business.
Right. And do you think there are going to be some trends that you're excited about in this segment, and maybe certain trends that may change the way businesses function, like in the next 5 years or so?
So I think it's very interesting to see how India is moving towards clean beauty. A couple of years ago, if you had asked me, I would have thought that India would have taken more time to adopt to that. But I think consumers here, and it's what's even more interesting is even a tier 2, tier 3 consumer is as educated and as aspirational when it comes to beauty and personal care as a tier 1 customer. Because where are they discovering this? They're all discovering on social media, right? So they know exactly what's happening in the world and what is right for them and what the latest trends are. So I think India's embrace of clean beauty, moving from clean to conscientious, will still take some more time. But I think that's one clear trend where clean beauty is no longer a differentiator, but it's table stakes. I think offline is going to become a lot more experiential. I think consumers will start, because consumers are now so comfortable making purchase online that I think offline will be more of an experience for them. So I think in the next 5 years, you'll see offline move from being transactional to being more experiential.
Right. It's tempting to think that success means becoming a unicorn. Tell me, what was the journey like for you, and what advice would you have for entrepreneurs who are also chasing valuation?
Look, you can't chase valuation, right? I think the right thing as an entrepreneur to think about is dilution, right? Valuation comes, and it's very little in your control. Yeah. It's also a lot to do with market environment, right? At that point of time, right? Look at 21 versus 22. Everybody's valuations have completely changed, right? So I don't think entrepreneurs should chase valuations. I think valuations is a byproduct. I think, of course, entrepreneurs should think about how much capital they need and how much dilution they can do, because look, as an entrepreneur, once you dilute, it's never coming back. Right? But at the same time, you never want to run out of money. You need to have enough capital with you. So my advice to entrepreneurs would be, just make sure you wake up every morning hungry to run your business, and make sure you do what you need to do to have enough capital with you to see through all the times, good times and the bad times. And then your tipping point will come, right? Eventually. Might take you 5 years, it might take you 10 years, might take you 2 years if you're incredibly lucky. But never stop doing both of these. Hunger to run your business and ensuring you always have capital to stay alive.
So tell me, what's the vision for the Good Glamm Group, in the next couple of years? Are there new product offerings, and is a public listing on the cards?
I think our eventual path is an IPO. 2024, I've been maintaining that, and I feel fairly confident and bullish we'll get there. India is a great place to list. Consumer multiples in India are fantastic. Consumer businesses with scale are very few in India. So if you're one of the few who has scale and consumer, India is the place to list. I'm very clear I want to be profitable before I list. I don't think Indian investors have the patience to see a company losing money quarter after quarter. So before we go to the public markets, we should be supremely profitable and cash generative as a company. We have international as a big bet next year. So if you again look through our journey, we went through, launch October 17, content to commerce start September 20. 2021 was all about M&A. 2022, this year, is about consolidation and getting to profitability. Next year, we see international as a big bet for us, which we made an investment in this year. And then leading all of that, leading into a 2024 IPO. That's how we're thinking about for the next 2 years.
Well, all the best. And before I let you go, tell me, what have been your biggest learnings as an entrepreneur over the last 20 years?
It's do what you can to keep staying in the game. Right? Just be there every day, every morning. You're an entrepreneur, so you love your business, obviously. Otherwise, you wouldn't be an entrepreneur, right? Just be there every day, keep executing. Ups and downs will come. Do what you need to do to keep being alive and staying in the game. If you stay in the game long enough, your tipping point will come. I have no doubt that every entrepreneur's tipping point will come. But when it comes, nobody can predict. And you just have to ensure you're there till the point the tipping point comes.
Well, it was great chatting with you, Darpan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot. It was wonderful to be here. Thank you.
And well, before we wrap up, here's a quick look at our CXO diary.
I think the ability to think like a leader while working like a soldier. The success of your team. My mornings, most precious. Early mornings, clearest thoughts, quietest environment, most productive and efficient time. super pumped. The Uber story was incredible to see the audacity of what he wanted to achieve, and shocking to see the apathy towards culture and the toxicity it brewed. It's hard for me to switch off, which means sleep doesn't come easily to me. I think the innocent self-belief that if you work hard enough, you can achieve anything. Serena Williams, hands down. There is no other personality that I think, endured incredible odds to beat every record out there and really, be an idol and inspiration to all of us. No favorites there. All of them have their own individual purposes and use. I think money gives you the ability to take risks. When I'm not working, I think I'm troubling my wife and kids.
And that's all we could pack on this edition of Leaders of Tomorrow Season 10. We hope you enjoyed the insightful takeaways. Thank you and good night.